Hey, 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 Angie Rae here with Girl That's Toxic. Hope you're doing well. Do all the things below. Glad you're here. Okay, what's up with all this fighting? All this fussing and fighting? Ooh, child. You know I had to come on here. Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith, what is going on? This guy, Jason Whitlock, and Stephen A. gets on my nerves, but I gotta defend him. What in the hell is going on? Okay, well, let's try and sort it out. Okay, so this is Jason Whitlock, okay? And Jason Whitlock used to work at ESPN, Fox, blah, blah, blah. Now he works for the conservative right-wing network of Blaze TV. And if you may recall Glenn Beck from back in the day when he was at Fox, he left Fox and he formed Blaze TV in Dallas, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So Glenn Beck, I think, is gone, but Blaze TV is still a thing. And this is where this guy works on the right-wing network of Blaze TV. And he has had this to say about Stephen A.'s memoir. That's a hard word to say.
Stephen A. Smith is the Kevin Hart of the sports media.
He said Stephen A. is the Kevin Hart of the sports media.
Smith is a plant. Disney and ESPN installed Smith at the top of the sports media world because his inadequacies as a journalist make him easy to control.
He ain't lying.
When I listen to Cat Williams talk about Kevin Hart and Steve Harvey, my mind immediately drifted to Stephen A. Smith's memoir. Smith's story just doesn't add up.
What they're not telling is I only played one game because I cracked my kneecap.
1.5 points per game. How do you average that in one game? Is there a 1.5 pointer in
I wonder if he's ever played basketball. Doesn't look like it.
Division II basketball? How do you do it?
He got jokes.
It can't be done.
My nigga.
It's an impossibility. And I know I'm not great at math, but you can't average
That's
one
not
and a
the
half
only thing you're
points a
not great
game
at.
in basketball in one game.
My bone cracked in half. My first year at Winston-Salem State.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Got a baby saying a bad
Are there
word.
two Stephen Smiths that played at Winston-Salem State? Because one guy, according to the stat sheet, played 9 games, and the guy on TV is saying he never played a game. The guy on the right is Big House Gaines, the coach, who again, Stephen A. Smith in his memoir claims that, Big House Gaines was like a father figure. I sat in his office and we talked and he was my mentor and he's my guide and he's this and that. Big House Gaines in his book, no mention of Stephen A. Smith.
So what? So what if he doesn't mention Stephen A. Smith? So what? It's his book. He gets to put in it what he wants to. Okay, this is pure D nasty. So now we got to get into it. Stephen A. obviously has a response. Let me say this. When Jason Whitlock started coming at him hard like this, Stephen A. Smith knew he was going to respond, and he chose to do so on his podcast, The Stephen A. Smith Show. But before he went on the microphone and did what you're about to see, he talked to the people at ESPN to let them know that he would be doing this, that he had it with this guy and what he was saying. And he also called his pastor and asked for forgiveness ahead of time. He didn't need to call his pastor. He could have just talked straight up to God and said, please forgive me for what I'm about to do. But calling the pastor, nothing wrong with that either. So where do we go from here? Y'all, this is full of profanity, so hold on. Stephen A. Smith madder than a wet hen. I don't blame him.
Tell them that once this same article in Deadspin came out,
He's talking about a 2015 article that came out in Deadspin, and it talked about ESPN personalities.
weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me. Did you tell the folks that, you bitch? Did you tell them? You fat piece of shit. Did you tell him that? Got the names. We got Jamel Hill. We got Howard Bryant. You want me to bring up the other writers that wouldn't work for you? Why it took you nearly 2 years to get an article out? Because you ran that shit so bad you were running it into the ground? Did you tell them that?
Okay. And now a song like Donkey Kong, everybody. Holy Toledo. So, we had a lot of profanity there. Cover your ears. Put your earmuffs on. I hate to see, I'm sorry, folks. I hate to see two black men fighting. I just do. But this was necessary, I guess. And I also found another video where Stepehn is not the only person who took on Jason Whitlock. Okay, we about to go to the Breakfast Club and Charlamagne, okay? And Charlamagne is defending Serena Williams. Jason Whitlock wants to say that she's underrated. Excuse me? Have you put a tennis racket in your hand? Have you tried to play? I know I tried to play when I was a little girl and I stunk. Sorry, Mommy, I stunk. You probably can't play basketball or tennis. Not with all that. Not with all that. Now, we all need to lose a little. All of us. But wait a minute now. Y'all, this is crazy. Wow. Whew. All right. So now I want you to hear what Charlamagne has to say. Again, Charlamagne is talking about the fact that Jason Whitlock says that he does not think Serena is the greatest tennis player of all times. And then he called her underrated. How an underachiever. Let me redo that. He called her Serena Williams. He called an underachiever. This Jason Whitlock guy just wants to go after black people. Okay? And so he does, and so he is doing. And for whatever reason, he reminds me of a sports version of, what's that girl's name? Ooh, her name left me right now. Candace Owens. I don't need to remember her name. Let's listen to Charlamagne, because he mad. Maybe some cussing. Oh, he said he was too fat for the fedora he has on. So here's the deal. Jason Whitlock wants to go after people and have his opinions, which are all right-wing opinions. And to sit there and say that Serena is an underachiever and that she should not be considered the greatest tennis player of all time. Okay, then who? Steffi Graf? I mean, what are we talking about here? So anyway, needed to come on today to let you know that I wish this was not happening. I really wish that we were not seeing two black men having to deal with each other. It's just not what I want to see at all. It's toxic. Toxic. This is Girl That's Toxic. That's why it's on this show. It's toxic. And it needs to stop. This bringing down each other, crabs in a barrel, whatever it is. And see, Stephen A. made it clear. No, brother, I remember when you came pole-mouthing, as we say where I'm from, pole-mouthing and begging me. Didn't anyone want to write for your show? So, Jason Whitlock, goodbye, Felicia. Stephen A. Smith, thank you for handling your business and absolutely making us laugh. Charlamagne, you're in that department too of the thank you for making me laugh. So in the meantime, y'all take care. But this little argument is getting super ratchety.